Hey, it's Monday. Okay. I tried to go live earlier. Well, I did go live a couple of hours ago, and all of a sudden all of my kids came in. They'd left me alone for an hour. And next thing I know, they're all banging down the door. So to address them in mom life, I went and took care of them and decided that I'd come back to this later. So what I want to talk about today is, first off, resistance when it comes to doing uncomfortable things and how that shows up in our bodies when we are looking to grow and expand or make room for more, if I were to put it into one sentence. And so I have these cool motivation manifesto cards that I got when I went to Growth Day Live. Like, I've never met anybody who gives away as much as Brendan did. Every day at that live event, for 4 days in a row, he gave a gift to people, to everybody, all 2,000 plus attendees, on their chairs every day. Books, cards, audio clips, all kinds of stuff on like USB drives. It was amazing. So before we get into it, I want to read a couple of these cards that I pulled. I pull them every day, at least one. And sometimes if I'm really needing it, I'll pull more than one just to give me some inspiration. So the first one says, we should not fear an obsession for building a great free life. Wanting more should not be something that we're afraid of. The second one is, wisdom is knowing who to be and what to do in a given situation. Virtue is acting on that wisdom. And I love this one because knowing who we want to be and also knowing what to do at any given time, and then the capacity to actually act on it are very key things. And then the last one that really stood out to me, I actually pulled this one right before I hit to go live. And it says, we cannot timidly wait for everything to fall into our laps. We will receive only as we rise and march, for destiny turns its ear to those without fear. And that one just like hit me so hard when it comes to things like procrastination, or a lot of people right now like to talk about this elusive thing called imposter syndrome. And a lot of times if you're a freebie seeker like I've been for a long time, just looking for that next thing, sometimes we can fall into the trap of expecting things to, quote unquote, fall into our laps and then thinking that it will just come together. And that's not really how it works. I know that sometimes we'd love for it to be that way. I know I would sometimes, especially as we go through challenges in life and things can feel hard and heavy. So with that in mind, I want you to think about how your body responds to anxiety, to stresses in our lives, and how that can manifest as what we call anxiety. Where for me, as I've become more aware of it, it was, you get kind of shaky and nervous, and you might feel like this tension in the pit of your stomach or a tightening in your chest. It can get to the point where maybe you want to cry about it. Or when I really started making massive changes in my life and setting in very intentional boundaries a year and a half ago, and especially 12 months ago, which I talked about on my YouTube video on Saturday, which that took some courage to put out there as well. It started out originally as me feeling like I was going to cry all the time. I would drop my kids off at school and then I would just become so overwhelmed and want to go get them. And I would cry all the way home, and it would be like this bottled up tension that would get into my throat, and I felt like I couldn't even survive. And I don't know if you've ever felt that way or not. If you have, that's actually really normal. It's not necessarily, I don't want to say healthy, because it's not really a healthy thing, but it's totally something that's real and that we need to acknowledge it and be aware of it so that we can learn how to work through it. And when it comes to our central nervous system, that's actually our body trying to protect us and help us to figure out where we don't feel safe and why we don't feel safe. What is it that's keeping us stuck as we're trying to push through to the next level, that next area of growth in our life, in order to make room for more good in our lives. We have to identify what's holding us back, what we're tethering ourselves to in a way that we need to be able to release ourselves from. Because if you look at it like this, if you're in a crowded room, you can't invite anything else into that. It's already at capacity. If our life is at capacity, if mentally and emotionally and physically we are at capacity, where are we supposed to invite more of what we really truly want in our lives? How can we become more vibrant, more alive if there's no space for it? So to make room for more, we have to first acknowledge where we're at, what we are at capacity with in our environment, in our minds, in our physical bodies, spiritually, where are we not connecting? And when we become aware of that, then it gives us the ability to now start eliminating some things. We can move some things out. For me, it was, I had to look at my calendar and start going, that all this stuff is unnecessary, deleting it off of my schedule completely, so that I had somewhere in my schedule to make time for what I really wanted. Whether that was connecting with people, taking my kids to the park, going on some evenings when I'm able to and just watching the sunset. I had to become intentional with removing some things that weren't what I really wanted so that I could add in things that I did want that allowed me to feel fulfilled, that allowed me to feel more vibrant, that also allowed me to have some peace as well. I literally have in my calendar things like meditating for 20 minutes, journaling, taking time to actually put in my calendar what I really, really want in my life. And I'm not going to go too much into the calendar stuff because I have a friend who is going to be, she's amazing, she's a mom, she's a business owner, she's got a lot going on too. And her and I are going to put together some time management things that are really going to blow your mind. Some shifts that have to happen in your life in that area. So I'm not going to touch on that today. But I really, really, if I could give you anything to work on a Monday, moving into the rest of your week, it's to take 10 minutes, just 10 minutes. If you don't have 10 minutes, you seriously need to take 10 minutes. And just jot down where you're at. It's not about fixing anything right now. It's creating awareness of what is already in your physical, mental, emotional, spiritual spaces that has you feeling at capacity. And then tomorrow, I'll give you some ways that you can now start eliminating some things so that you can make room for more of what you really want in your life. So take that time today, that 10 minutes. And if you need accountability, there are 3 C's that I find that everybody needs. We want more confidence, we want more communication, and we want community. Part of that is holding ourselves accountable. So if you want to take 10 minutes, just shoot me a message when you're done and say, hey, I did it, and I'll be your accountability partner in that. I have one for me because I need it too. And just send it over. Hey, I did my 10 minutes. I want to make room for more. I am committing to myself. And then come back tomorrow, hold me accountable. If I know that you're waiting for me to come back to tell you what's next tomorrow, I'm actually going to get on live because I got to do it too. You know, I'm human. I'm working on these things as well. So, and remember that we can't wait for everything to fall on our laps. Wisdom is knowing who we want to be and what we need to do and then acting on it and eliminating the fear that we're not supposed to seek a great life. I'll see you tomorrow.